Laws in the world, Paris. Can't have a gun. Toughest in the world, right? They talk about gun laws. What it means is that you're sitting ducks. That's what it means. The toughest gun laws in the world. And they go and they kill 130 people. I have a friend. He's a very, very substantial guy. He loves the City of Lights. He loves Paris. I hadn't seen him in a while. And I said, Jim.
Well, he's talking about Jim, the mysterious Jim, who may not want to go to Paris anymore. But his friend President Trump made a hastily arranged trip to visit his French counterpart. And the president changed his tune on the City of Lights when he spoke at a news conference a short time ago.
I think this is one of the great cities, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And you have a great leader now. You have a great president. You have a tough president. He's not going to be easy on people that are breaking the laws and people that show this tremendous violence. So I really have a feeling that you're going to have a very, very peaceful and beautiful Paris. And I'm coming back.
And there was also some serious business to conduct in Paris. Trump and Macron talked about a number of issues, including terrorism, Iraq, Syria, and the Paris Climate Accord, a key source of disagreement between the two leaders. Joining me here in Washington to talk about this is Nayyera, former White House director and State Department spokesperson, and Ambassador Mark Ginsburg, former U.S. ambassador to Morocco and a former White House Middle East policy advisor. Guys, I want to start with a moment that isn't necessarily policy related right off the top, but it's getting a lot of play. This is Donald Trump remarking on President Macron's wife.
That made me cringe a little bit, I will admit. Yes, because it only furthers this narrative of the United States having a president who only sees women as objects and bodies and not as intelligent minds. Particularly interesting that he sounded surprised that the First Lady of France, had a good body. And I don't know if there was some ageist comment involved with that as well, but lots of layers to that don't point to any growth on behalf of our president when it comes to dealing with women in the workplace. Okay,
let's put that to the side. President Trump and President Macron don't have a lot in common, but they do have a lot in common at the same time. Both were outsiders coming in to run a government. Ambassador, why has Macron been so much more successful so far than President Trump?
I just came back from Paris, and it's extraordinary to watch them. See, what Macron really did is he started an entirely new political movement from scratch, en marche. And not only did he start it from scratch, but the entire stale French political order was desirous of having a completely new sweep come through. Yeah. And he transformed his presidential election into the creation of a new political party in which he was able to sweep the legislative elections in the National Assembly, where he now controls a complete majority, a vast majority within the National Assembly. So the difference between Mr. Trump and Monsieur Macron is that Mr. Trump inherited a stale political Republican Party that doesn't share his ideology.
Could he have made his own party, though? Could he have, sloughed off the Republican Party once he won and said, hey, listen, now we're all going to find a way to work together. We're going to go down the middle, and I'm going to create a
really expressed great dislike for Paul Ryan and a lot of the Republican political leaders. And it's interesting, although a third-party candidacy in this country would have been extraordinarily difficult, let's recall that if he had reached across the aisle and used his, in effect, many of his centrist ideological views, he could have forged a greater political spectrum that would have given him more of a legislative leeway than and Macron right now is doing just that.
That does seem quite a bit, though, to call it that President Trump has an ideological spectrum or vein, when really it does seem that at the moment, and how he certainly handles national security issues, is what will help him politically in that moment, in that day. Hence this entire France trip, while we have the cloud of Russia hanging over us. Now, the irony is that France and Macron in his election had to deal with quite a bit of Russian interference. Marine Le Pen, his opposition, actually met with Putin during the campaign and received an official endorsement. You had Russian bots trying to take down newspapers, trying to take down TV stations at the same time. But the French people, having seen what happened here in the United States, were prepared to deal with fake news and were prepared to look at things critically. So it did not have nearly impact in the Macron election that it did here in the United States, putting Macron actually in a really strong position. He's not playing to his domestic audience right now because he's already very popular. He is playing to the broader European audience to look like the new leader of the free world.
Cozying up to Donald Trump, is that going to gain him points in
It
Europe?
shows that he is taming the beast, per se. He has, there was that first meeting they had with that alpha male grip and trying to jockey back and forth. He came back to France and told the people that he was not going to give any ground to tyrant-type people, even in these small symbolic ways. So this is part of a larger play that, look, I'm the only one who can bring Donald Trump to the table because there is, behind Donald Trump, the power of the United States. I mean, this is, he was isolated at the G20. People called it the G19. And for Macron to be able to show that he can actually get some policy and the U.S. behind his agenda makes him look much stronger compared to someone like Angela Merkel, who keeps getting put side to side with Ivanka Trump, not Donald Trump.
Nayyera Haq, Ambassador Mark Ginsburg. And if you want to get more about how Donald Trump and Macron are differing and the opportunities both have, go look at Ambassador's op-ed. Surely Trump must have Macron envy. Am I saying Macron right?
Macron.
Macron.
Not macaroon.
Well, I want a macaroon now. Why'd you do that to me, Ambassador? Guys, thank you very much.